Dear students, good morning. Today we are going to see about the new topic, sound. We are hearing a variety of sound in our day-to-day life. Can you mention some of them? Yes. While we are moving in a heavy traffic, if an ambulance comes, we have to move to the left side and we have to allow the ambulance to move forward. Or during any festival times or any function in our house, we used to keep loudspeakers. In marriage hall and the party we can see. And any announcement by the government can reach the people easier by means of tandora. Nowadays we used to announce by means of auto. So in all the streets, nook and corner, they used to move and then those information will be reached to the people. And then we are hearing a variety of sounds in our life, like thundering of sounds and creeping of birds. You can also see in case of the games that conducted in the school, we used to clap and shout the names of the persons to come first. And then in our class, any test ticket, those who got first mark, we will encourage them by clapping our hands. So these are the varieties of sounds that you are familiar with. So sound enable us to communicate with each other. Animals also communicate with their own species by means of sound. Some sounds are very pleasing to hear. That is said to be music. And some sounds are undesirable, we can't able to hear. That is the movement of the vehicles. The sound created by the vehicles, and then it causes the pollution. In this class we are going to discuss about production of a sound, propagation of a sound, and then human voice system, hearing, noise pollution, and how we can able to control it. Production of sound. How sound can be produced? It can be produced by means of vibration. What do you mean by vibration? It is a rapid to and fro motion of the particle. So this rapid to and fro motion of the particle makes the substance around it to vibrate. So the sound is spread to the surroundings. The substance which makes the sound to transmit is known as the medium. So sound always travels through a medium. So in case of production of sound, when you say, for example, you can take the box and a scale. If you strike, you can do. When you are striking, the vibration is taken on the object. So we can able to hear the sound. So with the help of vibration only, the object is said to make sound. Then you move on to propagation of sound. Sound requires the medium for propagation we have already seen. That is in case of solids, liquids and the gases. For example, striking with the scale we can hear the sound in case of solids. Then in case of liquid, when you consider, if you take a ball or a doll and you put a cover over it and squeeze inside the liquid, we can hear the sound, but not much louder sound in case of the sound. Feebler sound only you can able to hear. In case of gases, when you consider, when I am talking, you can able to hear. So in case of gases. So sound travels faster in solids, then liquids, then to the gases. For that we are going to see an example. That is in case of you are taking a bell jar experiment and a mobile phone. Now we are keeping on the mobile phone and we are keeping it inside the bell jar. So what happens? We can able to hear the sound clearly. By using a vacuum pump, we are removing the air from the bell jar. Now the sound moves on gradually and the music also that comes slowly. We can able to hear the music slowly. And as full air is removed from the bell jar, we can't able to hear the music. From this we can able to understand that sound requires a medium for propagation. So the sound travels only by means of the medium, that is either in the solid or liquid or in case of the gases. So when we find which material the sound is more means solids compared to liquid and the gases. Then now we move on to speed. What do you remember speed? The speed of the sound is defined as the distance travelled by the time taken. So here when we consider speed is defined as the V is equal to n lambda, where n is the frequency and lambda is the wavelength. In case of frequency, when we consider frequency is equal to number of vibrations per second, and it is denoted by small n, and the SI unit of frequency is hertz, H is it. And then we move on to wavelength. What do you remember wavelength? The distance between two consecutive particles which are in the same phase of vibration is said to be wavelength. So in case of wavelength, it is determined by the Greek word lambda. Its symbol will be like this. Then the SI unit of wavelength is meter. That is m. Speed of sound at different temperature varies. That is at 0 degrees centigrade, its value is 331 meter per second. And at a value of 22 degrees centigrade, its value is said to be 344 meter per second. That is in case of the solids, liquids and the gases which are present at 25 degrees centigrade. In case of solid, aluminium 6420. In case of steel, it is 5960. And iron 5950. In liquids, that is in case of the water, that is sea water, it is 1530. In case of distilled water, that is pure, it is said to be 1498. So gases now we are going to see. In case of hydrogen, it is 1284, and in oxygen 316. So when a body is said to vibrate, what will happen? The particle of the substance first displaces its equilibrium position. So as a result, what will happen? A force will be created to its adjacent particle, and then it continuously moves on. Then the sound will be reaches to the listener. When a tuning fork is set to vibrate, what will happen? So it moves to and fro motion. So in to and fro motion, when it moves on, the forward direction, it will create a high pressure, that is said to be compression. And in the backward direction, when it moves, it creates a low pressure, that is said to be rarefaction. So continuously both compression and rarefaction will be coming off. This compression and rarefaction produces a sound, and thus we can able to hear. Then we move on to the sound waves. So in case of sound waves, when we say, only the wave motion will be taking place, not the particle will move, and then velocity of the medium alone changes, and then it depends upon the temperature, pressure and the humidity. So according to that, sound waves are classified into based on mechanical waves. That is, in case of mechanical waves, it's of two types: transverse waves and the longitudinal waves. So when an object is set to vibrate, that particle will create a wave motions. So in case of the transverse waves, when we consider, the particle of the medium vibrate in a direction which is perpendicular to the direction of propagation of the wave. So in case of the string instruments, you can able to see, and then some liquids alone, you can able to travel. The second type, we move on to long wave. The particle in the medium vibrate in a direction which is parallel to the direction of propagation of the wave. So here in case of solids, liquids and gases, the longitudinal wave motion can be observed. Now we are going to see properties of sounds. So in case of the sound, we classify into three types, that is loudness, pitch and the quality. What do you mean by loudness? It is the characteristics of the sound that distinguish between the weaker or feebler sound from the loud sound. So it depends upon the amplitude. As the amplitude increases, this loudness also will be increases. For example, when you consider, when you beat the drum lightly, then we have weaker sound. If you beat the drum strongly, we will get the loud sound. So it is measured by means of the unit called decibel, that is dB. And then next we move on to pitch. So it is the characteristics of the sound that distinguish between the flat sound and the shrill sound. The shrill sound is have higher pitch compared to that of the flat. In case of the example for shrill sound, we can say the bell, violin, and then guitar are the examples for shrill sound. Do you know either male voice or female voice has the highest pitch? Yes, female voice has the highest pitch. That is why the female voice is shriller than the male's voice. In case of low pitch, when you consider roar of the lion and then the drum beat are said to be low pitch. Then next we move on to quality or timbre. So it is the characteristics which distinguish between the sound, loudness and the pitch. So in case of an orchestra, we can see various instruments. Some of them will have the same pitch and the loudness. Okay, so when their instrument is used, we can easily identify the sounds of each instrument. According to the sound, the frequency is classified into three types. This audible sound, infrasonic sound and ultrasonic sound. So audibility means that what we are able to hear, and then the range, how much it is, the frequency, that is hertz value. So in case of the audible sound, when we say a human ear can able to hear the range of 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. Below 20 hertz we can't able to hear, and above 20,000 hertz also we can't able to hear. So the range within that what we can able to the human beings hear is said to be the audible range. Then next we move on to infrasonic sounds. So the sound frequency which is less than 20 hertz are said to be infrasonic sounds. So some examples we can say like elephant, giraffe and hippopotamus are able to hear this infrasonic sounds. So where we are using this infrasonic sounds, it is used to employ the earth monitoring system and also in case to the study of the mechanism of the heart. Ultrasonic sound. So the sound which frequency is greater than 20,000 hertz are said to be ultrasonic. These sounds are inaudible to human beings. Some examples we can say, for example, bat, dogs and dolphins can able to hear this ultrasonic sounds. So in case of the applications when you consider, it is used in the medical application means in sonogram, and then in case of sonar to detect the depth of the sea and to detect the depth of the submarines it is used, and it also used for dish washing. The main application of ultrasonic is said to be Galton's whistle. That is, it is inaudible for human, but the dogs can hear it. So for investigation, for training the dogs, they use this Galton's whistle. Dear students, we all love music. Why? It is very pleasing to hear. So the sound that produces pleasing sensation to our ear is said to be music. This music is created by a regular pattern of vibrations. So we used to hear the music which is very familiar to us, and we love the music also. So this music is given by the instruments. It is classified into 4 types: wind instrument, reed instrument, stringed instrument, and the last one, percussion instruments. So one by one we are going to see now. So the first one regarding wind instrument. What do you mean by wind instrument? The instrument, when it is blown by the air is blown to it, the music will be produced. That is, it is produced by the vibration of air in a hollow tube. The frequency is varied by changing the length of the vibrating column. For example, you can say trumpet, flute, shellai and saxophone are example for these wind instruments. And the next one, we move on to reed instruments. Reed instruments means it contains reed. That is, when air is blown to it through the instrument, it causes the reed to vibrate, which in turn produces the specific sound. For example of reed instrument, when you see harmonium and the mouth organ. And the third type, we move on to stringed instrument. These instruments have hollow boxes that amplify the sound that is produced. The frequency of sound is varied by varying the length of the vibrating wire. Example of these are violin, guitar, and sitar are the example for these stringed instruments. Next we move on to percussion instruments. It is also said to be old type of instruments. That is the tabla and then drums all come under this percussion instruments. It is specified, produce specific sound when they are strapped or crushed together. There is an amazing variety of percussion instruments. That is drum, tabla consists of leather membrane which is stretched across a hollow box called the resonator. When the membrane is hit, it starts vibrating and produces the sound. As we discussed earlier, music is very pleasant to hear. There are some music which makes everybody to dance. Even though they did not know the dance also, they will start dancing. So now we move on to sound produced by the humans. How the sound is produced. So when you keep your hand in your throat, you can see while you are speaking, the throat region vibrates. Now we are going to discuss about it briefly. So in case of the humans, the sound is produced in the voice box, that is called the larynx, which is present in the throat. It is located at the upper end of the windpipe. The larynx has two ligaments called vocal cords stretched across it. The vocal cords have a narrow slit through which air is blown in and out. When a person speaks, the air from the lungs is pushed up through the trachea to the larynx. When this air passes through the slit, the vocal cords begin to vibrate and produce a sound. By varying the thickness of the vocal cords, the length of the air column in the slit can be changed. This produces sounds of different pitches. In case of the males, when we consider, they have thicker and longer vocal cords. As a result, the sound produced may be deeper and low pitch when compared to that of the female. Mechanism of human ear. So ear is an important organ for all the animals to hear. So in case of the humans, when we consider, the high frequency vibration is required. Similarly, in case of the aquatic animals also, high frequency vibration in the air when it passes, then only it can be able to hear. The ear consists of three parts: outer ear, middle ear and the inner ear. The visible and outer part of the ear is said to be pinna. It is specially designed to gather sound from the environment, which then reaches the eardrum through the ear canal. When the sound wave strikes the drum, the oscillus moves inwards and outwards to create a vibration. These vibrations are then picked up by a special type of cells in the inner ear. From the inner ear, the vibrations are sent to the brain in the form of signals. The brain receives these signals and then it turns as a sound, and thus we can be able to hear. And then we move on to noise pollution. What do you mean by noise pollution? The unwanted sound that irritates us is said to be noise. So it is an irregular pattern of vibration taking place. So where we can able to hear this noise pollutions? In case of a bus stand, railway station, and then airplanes, electrical appliances such as mixie, grinder, washing machine are all causes for the noise pollution. So major production of noise can be obtained from the industries. So due to industrialization and urbanization, loss of noise is produced. And then noise produced by the vehicles, it also irritates and then it produces headaches to us. Of noise pollution. Asas means dangerous effects. That is, in case of higher exposure to noise pollution leads to nervousness, stress, headaches and irritability. Long exposure to noise may change the sleeping pattern of the person. Then it leads to loss of hearing. So when a sudden louder noise is able to hear, the person is affected by the heart attack and then unconsciousness will be taking place. It may cause lack of concentration in one's work. Noise of horns, loudspeaker can cause disturbance leading to lack of concentration. So it also affects peace of mind of a person. Now we are going to see how we can able to control the noise pollution. There are some various steps in which you can able to control. For example, in case of the vehicles, the silencer should be kept, and then regarding loudspeaker using in case of functions and all, it should be kept at low volume and a specific time should be given to it. And then all communication system must be operated at the low volumes. Residential areas should be free from the heavy vehicles. Nowadays you can see that ring roads have been kept, so those some vehicles should not, they won't enter into the town area, outer area they will move on, so like that. And then green corridor belt should be kept in the industries, so as to see that the noise control pollution is followed in that area. People working in the noisy factories should wear the earplugs. So use of earplugs while using the music or that also we have to use minimum timing limits. Otherwise, higher amount of electrical signals will be produces which causes to death. So people working in the noisy factories should wear earplugs. And then people are encouraged to plant more trees. So if you plant more trees only, then that absorption will be taking place. In cases of houses and the cinema theatres also, you can see that curtains and then asbestos sheets will be kept, and the cushions also are kept in the house in order to avoid. And now next we are going to discuss about the hearing loss. Without knowing the effects, some of them used to have the hearing loss. Here are the some symptoms. That is, they used to have earache. So in the ear they used to have the pain, and a feeling of fullness or fluid in the ear can be known. And then next they used to have ringing of their ears. These are the symptoms. So what are the reasons when we consider? According to the aging, that the hearing will be reduced, and then ear infection if they had and if they are not treated also, that loss of hearing will be taking place. If you take some medicines, or in case of genetic disorders, and then in a severe blow on the head, sudden blow on the head takes place also, hearing loss will be taking place. And finally, when they are often hearing the loud noise, then the hearing will be hearing loss will be taking place.